Hi everyone. So welcome to the stream today. Welcome to our session towards the July 2026 examination, ICAG July 2026, as we get ourselves prepared, look at the various things that we must understand to put us in the position to go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and most importantly, pass the examination. And we are going to be spending the time today to look at some few things that we need to understand when it comes to the ICAG examination, take some few tips and strategies as well in respect of what you need to understand when it comes to how you study generally as well on the overall. It's also a Q&A session, so if there are any questions you have, something you want me to share my thought on, don't hesitate. You put it in the comment section or the chat, and I will be able to provide you with some answers as we go. Let me also hear from you what's the subject you are preparing for the July 2026 examination. Or maybe you've not decided yet. You are looking at the combination of the subjects. You are still in level 2 or you are in level 3, and you are looking at a combination of the subjects that you can write. Put it in the comment section or the chat for me. I'm going to also give you some strategies or recommendation on subject combination choices and how the subjects are knitted together so that you can really prepare well for the examination and most importantly, pass the exam. So welcome. I see some of you guys joining. Welcome to the stream today. Now, one thing you must understand about the ICAG examination on the overall is that at this point, going into July 2026, the examination is becoming better. What does that mean? It means that the examination is getting to the level where it requires a certain understanding to be able to put you in the position to pass the examination. That's the first thing you must understand. The second thing you must understand is that almost all papers that you will write, there are going to be some written areas that you need to focus on. So you take a subject like financial reporting, 20 marks of the questions minimum will be on the theory. Written issues, that is corporate governance, ethics, sustainability, and those various areas. When you take management accounting, it depends. For instance, let me bring up my screen so that you see what I'm talking about. So that you see what I'm talking about here. So for instance, this is March 2026 ICAG management accounting paper. And I want to just show you something about it because we are looking at the examination structure. Again, number one, the examination is getting better and better as we proceed in respect of that. Number two is that the examination has some theories that you have to be mindful of. So this is management accounting March 2026 examination. Now, in the March 2026 examination, this was the structure of the exam. So theory questions on the overall, about 28%. Now, there are other questions that will require you to just go straight up and go away. You don't have to do any calculation really. But strictly theory, comment question, 28%, calculation, 72%. Okay, so that is management accounting last semester, what the examiner did. And so what you need to understand is that, and if you come to public sector accounting and finance, you're going to be seeing the same thing. Let me bring you public sector accounting and finance as well. Coming up. So this is public sector accounting and finance, March 2026 as well. And in the public sector accounting and finance, we know question one is financial statement preparation. That's calculation, 20 marks. Then the question two standards is a mixture of theories and calculations that the examiner is going to be bringing that you must be mindful of. Question three was on theory with a PIFA, which was a little calculation because, PIFA, we are using the M1 and M2 because we are analyzing, this was analyzing management of assets and liabilities. So you're going to be using M2 and M1 for some of the indicators, M1 for financial risk reporting, M2 for the other ones in respect of that. So a mixture of calculation and theories in respect of that when it comes to the examination. And so the question we then have to ask ourselves is this: how are we preparing? How do we put ourselves in the position to ensure that we pass the examination? Almost always, what the average student does is, yes, you are focusing, you are calculating, doing the various things that you must do in respect of the understanding at the end of the day. And so what you need to understand is this, that as you are preparing for the examination, whatever subject that you are writing, you are going to be having some written questions in the exam or some calculation question in the exam hall. Now, this is the trap many fall into. Many think that, or feel that, Nhyira, when I learn the theories, I'm going to forget them. So I'm going to wait the morning to the exam or the night to the exam, then I'm going to sit down and read all the theories. But the thing is that the night before the exam, the morning of that examination date, your brain is not going to have the fortitude, the luxury to read. And so the strategy for you to pass the examination is that you need to be studying alongside. Because the written questions should be studied alongside. It's not like, you're going to just be focusing on the calculations, then you ignore the theories. No. Because the syllabus is structured in such a manner that the theories must be learned and connected together to optimize your chance of passing the examination. So let me give you an example here. In financial reporting, for instance, corporate reporting, for instance, it is important you start your discussion with a conceptual framework. Okay? The conceptual framework for financial reporting. Now, when you start your discussion with a conceptual framework for financial reporting, there are a number of things that you are going to be understanding here. You're going to be looking at the objectives of financial statement. You're going to be looking at the issues in respect of elements of the financial statement. You're going to be looking at the basic assumptions that are used in the preparation and presentation of financial statements. Now, these are theory questions that the examiner can bring. The conceptual framework is a 5-mark question the examiner can bring in financial reporting or corporate reporting. Now, so before you get goosebumps into the accounting standards in financial reporting, corporate reporting, consolidation in financial reporting, corporate reporting, and some of the other things, you must be strong in the conceptual framework because you must know the financial statements that are available. So the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, the statement of changes in equity, the statement of financial position, the cash flow statement, and then the notes to the financial statement, and know the objectives of these. Then elements of financial statement, this is going to set you up for a lot of things. What are assets? What are liabilities? What is equity? What is expenses? What's an income? What is revenue? Then the issue in respect of equity or capital. Then the assumptions, the basic assumptions for the preparation and presentation of financial statement, the accrual basis, right? And then the going concern basis. So before you get excited into, hey, IAS 16, IAS 40, IAS 23, you have to know the conceptual framework because that sets the tone for you. Now, if you understand the conceptual framework very well, it is going to be running through the entire discussion. And so when you get to the exam hall and the examiner asks you a question about the definition of a liability, the recognition of an asset, difference between revenue and income, or something under the conceptual framework, it's not something that you technically have to just sit down and say, I am dedicating a day to read. It is something that you have read, you started with, and you walk through the journey with, to put you in the position to pass the examination. That is what you need to understand at the end of the day. That's what you need to understand. So that is the conceptual framework. Not only that, there is ethics here in financial reporting, corporate reporting. Now, ethics is an interesting area because ethics can link up with the accounting standards, the IFRSs or IASs, because we can have a transaction or some transactions that the financial director or the CEO is asking it to be treated contrary to how the accounting standards are said or contrary to what the conceptual framework is. So ethics, yes, is a theory area, but also has linkage on the accounting standards. So before you can determine whether, the person is exposed to self-interest threat, self-review threat, and how to connect that with the fundamental code of conduct and what is going wrong and the recommendation you can make, it means that your knowledge in the accounting standards will be helping you. So the ethics sets the base for you, then you can connect that with the accounting standards. Same thing happens to corporate governance. Corporate governance is in financial reporting and corporate reporting. A question the examiner can bring to you in the exam hall, 5 marks as well as a standalone question. Corporate governance is also a linkage because it has issues in respect of ethics, it has issues in respect of standard, it has issues in respect of the overall preparation and presentation of the financial statement. And so as a student, you must understand that these are written areas the examiner is going to be bringing. Then the issue about sustainability. Okay, sustainability. Sustainability is not just a standalone idea because sustainability also has linkage on the accounting standards, preparation of financial statements, and other key issues. So what am I trying to say here? What I'm saying here is that whatever subject you are writing, say financial reporting, corporate reporting, 20 marks of the question will be on theories. But don't think that you are going to shelve it a day to the exam, 2 hours to the exam, magically you can sit down and read through all the theories. Otherwise, you're going to fail the exam. Because these theories are easy areas that you can cross the examination very well. People go to the exam hall, financial reporting, corporate reporting, and their mind is on console A, console, console A, console. Yeah, your mind is on console, but it's 20 marks. Okay, how about the remaining 80 marks area? What are you doing with that? That remaining 80 marks area, what are you doing with it? So what are we saying? Number one, understand that the examination requires intelligence to pass. You need to know your stuff. And you can't do baba. It is either you know it or you don't know it. Simple. Number two, understand that your exam in some way, shape, or form is going to have a written or, if you want, comment areas that you must be prepared for. And so if you remember, I keep on saying this, that the strategies always is that you need to go in there and then answer the written or the comment questions first, so that you can then start answering the other questions. So it's a strategy to be able to balance things off. So number one, you need to really know your stuff. Number two, written or comment questions are going to be there. I've said this before, but number three, time is going to be important. Many people fail the examination because of time. And so if you remember in the previous session, I emphasized on this. So as you are studying, everything must be done within time. Speed and accuracy has to be your friend in the exam hall at the end of the day. So how can you move with speed and accuracy in the exam hall? You can only do that if you have been practicing that over the period. So you have to be working with time. You see, many a times, it's not that the question is difficult. Like, for instance, you take this management accounting examination, right? Permit me to bring this up again quickly. Up. That ain't what I'm looking for. You take this management accounting paper, for instance. Some people passed, some people failed. It's not that the questions are difficult. This management accounting paper, it's not that questions are difficult. But you see, you need some level of, number one, intelligence. You need to really understand the topics, the concepts in management accounting under each of the topical areas to be able to pass it. Not only that, you need to understand that there are written questions. As I illustrated here, there was a 28 marks question on theory. 28. So imagine you got to the exam hall, management accounting, and your goal is take out all the theories first. That is 28%. If you have studied, You have read well. Let's say this 28, you get 20 out of it. And the theories, you can do it in record time and save time for the calculation areas. So let's say out of the 28, you are getting 20 because you've read the theories in management accounting very well. So you get 20 out of the 28. Now you go to the calculation areas. Variance is there, budgeting is there, short-term decision is there. Then you come to performance measurement in question 1, divisionalization dealing with transfer pricing. So you need to study. Number 2, you need to know that there will be written questions. Number 3 is timing. Some people will go to the exam hall and instead of answering all the written questions first, they will be doing something else. Then later on, when the exam has ended and they are on their way home or they get home and they flip the exam script, only for them to realize that, I learned this thing. Oh, God. I read this thing. Attainable and then current standards. I read them. Oh, God. Yeah, you've already started failing the exam. And you know you have failed. So you need to understand this and manage yourself in respect of that. You see, many people wait. In that 3 hours in the exam hall, that is where they start feeling the taste of the exam. And that's why many people fail the exam. So in the next 12 weeks, if we know that the exam structure, the examiner is going to be covering the entire syllabus, we will require people with intelligence, a high level of understanding to pass. There will be written questions in there, and we need to work with time and speed and accuracy. Then in the next 12 weeks, that is what you have to do. And you need to stop the excuses. I'm going to wait 3 days to the exam. I will attend intervention class by Kukurentumi, and I will be good. I will attend intervention class by Afajato and I'll be good. Bro, you're going to be cooked. Some of you have been doing this and you fail the exam, but you continue to do it. And so really, I want you to understand this. If you want to pass the ICAG examination, no matter the subject you are writing, remember, we need people with high level of intelligence. Remember, there will be written or comment questions in there. Remember, you need to be able to work with speed and accuracy. Then certainly the last one, which is interesting, is English language. Okay? Understanding of the English language. Understanding of the question is the beginning of solving it. Some of you, your English is not good. You speak something that sounds like English, but you cannot read to understand what is going on at the end of the day. And that is what you need to understand in the respect of that. Very, very important. Very, very important. Please give me a sec. Give me a sec. It's like there is a me head who is trying to take some advantage of my live comment session. Let me see if I can do this quickly. Okay. So English language is going to be important. So make sure you understand the context of the question. Like you take this management accounting paper, for instance, like the question 5, right? Something on short-term decision. Prepare the profit or contribution statement for each grade of material. At what price will it be more profitable to use the regular material? Determine the price at which it will be indifferent to use either regular or cheaper grade of material. It's English, but you must understand the context of the question. What is the examiner asking you to do? Same thing happened if I take you through this, right? If I take you through the public sector, accounting and finance. So look at the public sector. For instance, this question 3B. Look at the requirements of the question. It says, compute and interpret. It says, using an appropriate scoring methodology, compute and interpret the score of each indicator relating to assets and liability. You must understand that assets and liabilities, indicator 1 will be weakest link method, M1. From indicator 2 and the fourth one will be average method, M2. So understanding the context of the question and what you are expected to do on the overall is going to be important in positioning you to pass the examination at the end of the day. And so that is something that I want you to really be mindful of as we structure ourselves, as we prepare ourselves for the examination. That if you are going to pass the examination, then you will need to really, really, really take note of these 4 things. And please, the last minute dance moves has to stop. The last minute dance moves, it has to stop. There are many of you, you will be better off if every week you did something on your own, rather than waiting 3 days to the exam hall, then you start doing things. You'll be better off if you had done something. And that is what you need to really understand. So that is what I want to start with in the discussion when it comes to the ICAG examination structure. Know that there is some level of intelligence expected. Know that there will be written questions. So as you are learning, read along like that. Know that speed and accuracy is going to be key. Many people fail the exam because they are not able to work with speed and accuracy. And know that English language, understanding of the context of the question, is crucial in passing the examination on the overall. I see some of you guys joining. Welcome. We are looking at the ICAG examination structure and focusing on few things that we need to understand to put us in the position to pass the examination. If there are any questions you have, put it in the comment or the chat for me, and I'm going to be providing you with some answers as we proceed in the discussion today for our examination for the July 2026 exam. We started our live lectures as well on Monday, so our live lectures commenced on Monday, and enrollment is still ongoing. So if you have not registered and you want to register, study under my mentorship, get access to our content library, and get access to our examination analysis document, join our executive leadership masterclass exclusively for our students, then you can visit our website, NhyiraPremium.com, or send us a WhatsApp message, 050-114-9296. You can see the contact scrolling below the screen, and you should contact us and you'll be assisted to be able to prepare well for the examination and pass the exam. So if you remember, we spent some time in the previous session to look at financial reporting, corporate reporting, and public sector accounting and finance, giving you a breakdown on what you need to know about generally at the end of the day. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can see that slide here. Uh-oh. Give me a sec. Let me bring that slide up somewhere. La, 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 la. Okay. So let me bring back my screen. I'm seeing some chats coming up. Let's see if I can bring some of them. John Ding said, greatness. Okay. Oh. Just Story said, absolutely, sir. Okay. Combat said, Thomas here. Okay, Thomas, thanks for joining us. Any questions, you put it in the comment section or the chat. I want to hear from you as we proceed in the discussion today. So we spend the time to look at the issues in respect of financial reporting, corporate reporting, and public sector accounting and finance. So what I want to do quickly is to share my thoughts on a few things. We discussed this in our main public sector class, but I want to highlight it as well on the stream today as we look at this. So let's say you are writing public sector accounting and finance. And I'm going to talk about the other subject, so stay with me carefully. Let me know in the comment section as well the subject you are writing so I can jump to that specifically and give you some strategies specifically in the subject. So for public sector accounting and finance, for instance, this is the breakdown of the syllabus. Everything you need to understand for public sector accounting and finance, this is the breakdown. This is what you need to understand. And so what do we have? Overview of public sector accounting and finance, who the users of public sector information are, the differences between public sector and private sector, the laws and regulations, and then who are the key players in public sector that we need to know about in the institution. We have Controller, Accountant General, Auditor General, Minister of Finance, Parliament, Public Accounts Committee, Principal Spending Officers, Principal Account Holders. You must know their roles. Then the Nolan's Principle and Virtues, you must know them. Then you come to the financial statement preparation where revenue management and expenditure control will open you up there. Then we prepare the financial statement. Then you come to evaluation of the efficiency and effectiveness of the public financial management system of the country. And that is where PIFA comes in, Public Expenditure and Financial Accountability Framework. Then you come to the evaluation of financial statement, where we can use either common size, ratio analysis, or budget variance analysis. Then you come to the IPSAS issues, because you're going to be having IPSAS coming in, and then budgeting in the public sector. And so this is the breakdown of the discussion when it comes to dealing with public sector accounting and finance. And so you have to then ask yourself, how do I break this down into the 12 weeks, both personal studies, attending lectures, to ensure that I cover everything thoroughly? Because the examiner is going to be bringing questions from all areas of the syllabus. It's not like we're just going to have one area of the syllabus coming up and then the other areas will not come. No, everywhere will be examined, or everything will be examined. The question is, will you be able to cover these? That is why you cannot sit down, not study, and then register for the exam and take a 1 week leave and think that the 1 week leave and attending some intervention class somewhere, some 3 hour, 6 hour class somewhere, can cause you to pass the exam. You will fail. Because it doesn't work like that. You can't do this in a 6 hour class, a 12 hour class, unless you are smoking something, which I don't know though, but if you're smoking something, then it means there's a problem with you. Because you cannot do this in a 6 hour class, in a 12 hour class. 3 hour class, 15 sessions, we are not able to thoroughly finish the syllabus. And you think you can do everything in the syllabus in a 6 hour class and you can go to the exam hall and pass the exam? What are you drinking? What are you smoking? And so we need to be realistic with ourselves to understand that, hey, listen, we need to pass the examination in record time. If that is the case, this is the breakdown of the syllabus. This is everything I need to understand to be able to pass public sector accounting and finance. How do I position myself? How do I study well so that I can be intelligent at the end of the day, so that I can be in the position to be able to pass the examination? So that is public sector accounting and finance and the breakdown. And I believe by now, everyone has been able to prepare your study plan because we went through that in the previous session in respect of how you can prepare your study plan and put yourself in the position to really have time to study on your own and pass the examination at the end of the day. So that's public sector accounting and finance. Now, let's look at another subject that will be interesting for us here, and that's going to be management accounting. So if you are doing management accounting, what are the things that you need to be mindful of? As I showed you, for instance, the examiner is going to be bringing what? Theories and calculation. Last semester, directly about 28% of the questions, theory, and then 72% calculations. So in management accounting, what do you have to do? How do you have to structure yourself? Management accounting is very easy. Why do I say that? Because we have performance measurement, PM. This is question 1. Then we go to budgeting. Then we go to variance analysis, standard costing and variance analysis. We come to short-term decisions. And that's in question 5, usually. Then we come to the role of the management accountant in the public sector. So the public sector issues. And usually that is question 4A. Then there are some other issues that you need to be mindful of, like the models of evaluation. Okay? Models of evaluation. These are theory issues the examiner can throw in, like total quality management, value chain analysis, just-in-time, business process reengineering, benchmarking, right? Environmental accounting, sustainability, technology. Those kinds of things are all under the models of evaluation, and the examiner is going to be just sprinkling them out a little bit somewhere, somehow, to make sure he gets something there for you at the end of the day. So this is management accounting. But the question we ask ourselves is, what is made up of each of these segments? So for instance, if you take the question 1, which is on performance measurement, there are 3 or 4 choices available to the examiner. So under performance measurement, 3 or 4 choices available to the examiner. Choice number 1 is the examiner will ask you to undertake organizational performance measurement. So we are analyzing the whole organization's performance. In that case, we can use financial indicators solely. That is ratio analysis. So you calculate the ratios and write a report like you would do in FR, ratio analysis. Or we could be asked to use both financial indicators and non-financial indicators. Okay? Financial and non-financial indicators can be used. And the examiner has done this before. The third area on the whole organizational performance is where the examiner will ask you to use models. And one of such models is the balance scorecard. So the balance scorecard by Kaplan and Norton, the examiner can ask you to use the balance scorecard to evaluate the performance of the entity, or the Fitzgerald and Moon building block. Fitzgerald and Moon building block. And so when we talk about question number 1 in management accounting, the first option available to the examiner is the whole organizational performance. Under that option of the whole organizational performance, the examiner has 3 options even there. Styling of questions that he can ask students. Option number 2 is the concept of divisionalization. Under the concept of divisionalization, the examiner has an option to go with performance measurement, okay, or performance evaluation of the divisions. Now, when it comes to the performance evaluation of the divisions, the examiner can ask you to do residual income, return on investment, or use EVA, economic value added. That is performance. So that is one option, one styling of question. Number 2, still under the divisional performance or divisionalization, will be the concept of transfer pricing. So when one division is selling to another division, what is the price at which they should sell? That's the option 2, transfer pricing. So option 1, the whole organizational performance. Option 2, divisionalization. Under that divisionalization, the examiner can go for performance evaluation, or the examiner can go for the concept of transfer pricing. The question is, do you understand it? Can you get it? The third area here will be not-for-profit making organization. So evaluating performance for not-for-profit organizations. And usually this is where the value for money concept will come in. Normally, the examiner doesn't bring this as a standalone question. It will come as the B aspect of one of these 3. So one of the first 2 comes, then that not-for-profit value for money issue will come as just a B aspect for 7 marks, 5 marks in respect of that. So that is performance measurement. So this 20 marks area, so you check last semester, okay? Look at last semester, the examiner, what the examiner brought in the management accounting. Question 1. What did the examiner bring? He brought the concept of divisionalization. He says, prepare a statement showing the contribution of division X and division Y with the current transfer price. So it was the concept of divisionalization. Determine the likely effect on the contribution of each division if an algo adopts the proposal by division Y of a transfer price. So the examiner was on divisionalization, but chose the second option under divisionalization, transfer pricing. I hope you are getting what's going on. Look at the C aspect. It says, explain how multinational corporations utilize transfer pricing strategies to manage their global tax affairs. Then explain 2 disadvantages of negotiated transfer pricing. So the whole 20 marks centered around divisionalization, focusing on transfer pricing. And this is what you must understand when we are talking about the structure of the ICAG examination. So when you are learning for that question 1, performance measurement, what are you looking out for? How should you go? What is the scope of the discussion under each of these areas that you must understand? So in July 2026, we don't know. Maybe the examiner will bring what? Still under divisionalization, transfer pricing could still be there. Or the examiner will say, hey, I want to go organizational, and under the organizational, I want students to use both financial and non-financial performance indicators to analyze the performance of the organization. Everything is at the discretion of the examiner. So that is what I'm talking about. So when you are looking at the syllabus, and you see, some of these things, you will get them well done if you are attending lectures. And certainly attending lectures at a place where you are taught and guided better. Because it's not just about, I'm learning. It's about, okay, How is the examiner going to be setting the questions? What are the styling and choices of the examiner in respect of the topic that I'm learning? Because that is the ultimate goal, where if you understand the thing, but you don't know the structuring, the context, the styling of questions that the examiner is going to be bringing, then you're going to reach the exam hall and it looks like you know this, but you cannot answer the question because you know nothing. Let me give you another example. Short-term decisions, question 5. So question 5 is on short-term decisions. Because there are a lot of decisions that the management accountant assist management to make in the short term. And we must also have an understanding of these. And there are a lot of the short-term decisions you must know about. So we have limiting factor analysis. We have make or buy. Okay, make or buy. We have shut down. We have outsourcing decision, which is linked to make or buy and shut down. We have break-even analysis or cost volume profit analysis. Then we can talk about pricing decisions. I can even put in place here throughput accounting ratio. Because if you are doing limiting factor analysis, a flip side of that is the throughput accounting. They use different concepts that you must understand in respect of that. So that's there. So limiting factor, make or buy, shut down, outsourcing, break-even, pricing, decisions, and then throughput accounting ratio. All of these decisions are going to be made using marginal costing principle. Relevant cost analysis is there. So when it comes to short-term decision in management accounting, these are the things you must understand. Only one of these 9 things here will be in the exam hall. If the examiner gets goosebumps, you may get 1.5. That is if the examiner gets goosebumps, then you may get 1.5. But if the examiner is not getting goosebumps, he's not in the mood, then you get only 1 of the 9 here. So for instance, let's go to last semester, question 5. Question 5, last semester. It says, that was what we read earlier. Prepare a profit or contribution statement for each grade of material. At what price will it be more profitable to use a regular material? You're going to be using the marginal costing principle here and a mixture of the break-even concept to be able to answer this question. And there are some short-term decision questions like that where you will read a question, but you don't even know whether it is limiting factor, it is make or buy, because it is not. It is not shut down. It is not normal break-even, like you calculate break contribution to sales ratio, units to produce to achieve target profit, or relevant cost analysis. None of these will be applicable specifically to the question, but you are going to use marginal costing principle to be able to answer the question. So those styling of questions are also there. So if you die on the mountain of make or buy, shut down, limiting factor, relevant cost analysis, then you go to the exam hall and you see a question like this. What are you going to do? Because you're going to use the marginal costing principle with your understanding to be able to answer the question, because it's a short-term decision that the entity is seeking to make. And that is what I want you to understand also when it comes to dealing with management accounting. And you can see that here, that this was 16 marks. Okay? And so the whole thing was 20 marks. Short-term decision was 20 marks. The 4 marks was answering question. And this was the pricing decisions. So in this question, we got 1.5. Because the B aspects 4 marks is about pricing decisions. Okay, pricing decision. Full cost plus pricing, demand-based pricing. The examiner wanted student to explain these methods of pricing. That's short-term decision. So 4 marks on pricing decision, that is standard, automatically there. The other 60 marks question, you're going to use the marginal costing principle to be able to answer it. And hearing the concept of contribution here, it means you're going to leverage the marginal costing principle to be able to answer the question, because that is what you use in the short-term decisions. So the question is, will you be able to understand all of these? Solve enough questions to put you in the position so that when you go to the exam hall, that question 5 short-term decision, whatever the examiner brings there, you can answer. Will you be able to? That's the thing you must understand. And this is just a freestyle for question 1, 20 marks, question 5. In this case, 20 marks. Usually it will be 15, but sometimes the examiner can go 20 on the short-term decisions. Like he did last semester, 20 marks, bringing in 2 methods or 2 concepts in respect of that. So, whatever subject you are writing, this is what you must understand. And for those of you who have enrolled in our courses already, these are available in your course. Whatever course you have enrolled in, you will see course overview, breakdown, study plan, everything available, which you have been told to watch. So by this time, you should have watched this already. So for every segment of whatever subject you are writing, you must know the options, the topics there, the options available to the examiner, how the examiner is going to be structuring the questions, so you can put yourself in a position to go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and most importantly, pass the examination. Again, do you think you can study all of these 9 topics, all of these 9 subtopics under the short-term decision in 1 week? When you take a miserable leave, you wait 1 week, then you take leave. Can you do this in 1 week? And that is where sometimes people start, looking for things. Charlie, maybe Charlie, the one that is coming. What are you smoking? You think there is something where there is a place where it is the one that is coming that you are going to see? There is nothing like that. But the reason why people go for dear, hey, Charlie, maybe I don't have time to study you. Charlie, what is coming? I mean, Nhyira, what is coming? Which area should we focus on? No. There is no area of focus. You must know everything in the syllabus. You must know everything in the syllabus. But the reason why people go for dear, hey, Charlie, this one is mosquito. Charlie, this one is kukurentumi. Charlie, kukurentumi, dear. Charlie, his intervention. Hey, Charlie, oja. You will go and fail. And some of you have been in that loop. You failed the exam, but for some reason, you keep doing it. So what am I trying to say? The work required for you to be able to get that level of intelligence, understanding to pass the ICAG examination, the work required for you to be able to put yourself in the position to work with speed and accuracy, the work required so that you'll be able to have greater level of comprehension of the context of the questions, structuring of the examination is a lot. So you cannot do this in 1 week. You cannot do this by attending any 6-hour, 12-hour class anywhere. At most, you are just paying money and you will go and fail the exam. That's it. Because the examination now, unless you have sat down to study, have an understanding of the way the examination is, like I have done freestyle here for 2 questions, you're going to fail the exam. And that is why you must spread everything over the 12 weeks. You must spread everything over the 12 weeks. You cannot wait a week to the exam, 3 days to the exam before you start learning. So, Ojaso, right now, from this week, start studying. Here a little, there a little, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 30 minutes. Leverage the key summary videos in the mobile application. Start studying, attend lectures, do assignments, solve questions. Put yourself in the system in a manner that will help you to build the intelligence, the understanding required to work with speed and accuracy so you can go to the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and pass the examination. Because the people who are passing the ICA examination, it's not like they have two heads. No, they are just like you. Some are even much busier than you. They have tighter schedules than you. But you comfort yourself and you wait a week to the examination, you take a miserable leave from your workplace. You cause financial loss to the state, those of you in the public sector. You cause financial loss to your company. Then you spend the time trying to do dieba. Which one is coming? Which one can I focus on? Hey, there's a question from this. Oh, hey, there's a question from this. Oh, hey, there's a question from this. Oh, then you are under unnecessary pressure. Emotionally, you are traumatized. Spiritually, you are downsized. You walk to the exam hall and it is like you are carrying the world. And after the exam, you know you have failed the exam. You know. Because you didn't do anything. But if we want to do this in record time, we want to build the level of intelligence, understand the structuring of the examination, have a deeper comprehension of the examination, and most importantly, be able to work with speed and accuracy so we can put ourselves to pass the examination, then we got to spread this over the 12 weeks. And you have to be committed and do that gradually. If you can do that, I can guarantee you can pass the examination. And that is something I want you to really look at. Because you see, if you follow my work, I don't do magic. Because there is no magic anywhere. I don't do miracles. Because there's no miracle anywhere. If you can sit down, study, work, you go to the exam hall and pass. And that is why we don't do intervention. Because I don't believe to intervene for somebody. You can't sit down, you are not studying, and you think you can attend a 6-hour class, a 12-hour class, and go and pass the examination. No. You will fail. You will fail. And that is why Executive Reaching Masterclass is strictly for our students. And throughout that period, we are not doing magic. Those of you who have been with us, in our Executive Reaching Masterclass, there is no magic. All we are doing is, this is the examination analysis document. We are solving questions. We are looking at the areas that you have challenges.